Avengers Infinity War movie review. Spoiler free, by the way, in case
yes.
you haven't been
paying
attention here. All right, so Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk, and the rest of the Avengers unite to battle their most powerful enemy yet, the evil Thanos. On a mission to collect all 6 Infinity Stones, Thanos plans to use the artifacts to inflict his twisted will on reality. The fate of the planet and existence itself has never been more uncertain, as everything the Avengers have fought for has led up to this moment. Okay, so the way that we do these things, you start. Okay, so we just summarized it. All right, so you go ahead and do your thing, and tell me what your thoughts about the movie were.
As soon as it was done, I wanted to see it again.
Okay, so we are trying to be as
spoiler free
as possible. So we're really going to just talk about the stuff around the movie.
We're gonna try to talk around the movie as best we can.
Yes.
And then when we get into the spoiler thing, we're gonna gush like
talk about
like fanboys.
We'll talk about the technical stuff, the cinematography, the music,
the special
the
effects,
acting, how the movie was paced, things like that.
Yeah. And I wanted to see it again right at that moment, but then Movie Pass told me I couldn't.
Okay. We're not here to trash Movie Pass.
I'm not trashing Movie Pass. I'm just saying I'm not freaking out. I'm just saying. But anyway, seriously though, on a technical note, that movie was on a non-spoilery note. That movie was amazing. The story beats, the character interactions, the surprise appearance. I was like, I'm glad I went and saw all 18 of these because I understood everything that happened.
Yes. For me, this is probably my favorite MCU movie yet. This was amazing. The Russo brothers did a great job.
They outdid themselves in Civil War.
Yeah, the best of my favorite parts about this movie was that whenever there would be like a change, to say we go from a story with Tony Stark and Iron Man, and then we change to the Guardians because we already know the Guardians are in this movie.
Yeah,
when we change to the Guardians, I don't want to give that part away, but it feels like a Guardians movie.
Well, as
soon as we got to the Guardians,
because the James Gunn came in and wrote their dialogue.
Yeah, well, that and there's a part that makes this feel like a Guardians movie as soon as we switch to that scene.
Yeah,
there's a part, and he had specific input on that part too, which is really cool.
Yes, yes.
I'm trying not. I don't want to even spoil that part away for you guys. There's a just changing to that scene. You'll know.
It felt like we were watching multiple MCU movies at the same time.
Yeah.
But it all still made sense.
Yes, it all felt natural.
Like when it felt like you were it felt like you had brought like a like when you watch an MCU movie. Here's the perfect way to describe it, how watching an MCU movie feels to someone who knows about comic books. Mm-hmm. Every so often, like when they do a storyline on a comic book, they sell the issues, and each part of the issue tells the next part of the story. And then when the issues are all done, after some time, they sell what is called a collected edition, which takes all the issues that told that story and throw it into like a hardbound or softbound book with all those issues in one thing, almost making it more like a graphic novel at that point. Watching an MCU movie feels like buying one of those books.
Yes.
And then this one felt like you bought one of those books, but it was extra thick because it had the storyline told in chronological order. It had the Captain America issues, the Iron Man issues, all the issues of all these different characters compressed in this one book, and then plus the tie-in issues that are just titled the main event. Right. All spread in one book.
Yeah.
And it felt like that here. It felt like I was flipping through and I'm in Iron Man. I'm reading an Iron Man comic book.
I might need to back your mic up.
Okay, go ahead.
You're going in red. There you go.
Yeah, I was reading an Iron Man book. Okay, now I'm reading a Doctor Strange book. Now I'm reading this book. Now I'm reading that book. But it still kept the flow of the story. Mm-hmm. And that was like, as a comic book fan, I was like, thank you for recreating that for me in all these movies, and especially here.
Yes. if you've been watching our MCU review videos that we were doing or that we've been doing, the Phase 1 and Phase 2, I've mentioned my disdain for the director Joss Whedon. I have not made it any secret that I'm not a huge fan of his as far as his directing style. And this did not feel Whedon-esque to me. This one definitely felt like a Russo brothers cinematic masterpiece. Really,
yeah. It felt like a story. It felt like a story was being told.
Yes, this felt like a story was being told, and I don't think anybody else could have done this big of a project like that without. I'm surprised that they're still alive, that they didn't get overwhelmed with anything. This was so much to fit into such a big movie.
But one advantage that this movie had, they didn't have to do character introductions.
Right.
They didn't have to introduce anybody to the audience. You just had to show them what their status quo is at that point.
Yes. So this movie would never be able to stand on its own. That one, not at all.
No, not at all.
You have to have already been.
This movie is one of those homework required movies. To understand everything that's going on, you have to
watch everything.
You have to watch everything because well, not necessarily everything. Like Thor: The Dark World.
Right, yeah, you can skip over. Just watch the first of everything.
No, there's certain movies you still have to watch, like both Guardians, all the Captain Americas.
Yeah, just watch the ones that you appreciate. I don't know. Just watch, maybe, I don't know. There's stuff that you can skip, but just do your homework. See what you can skip.
See what you can skip and understand everything, and then you would understand everything just fine. But on its own, I don't think if you was to sit down and just watch Avengers 1, 2, and 3 back and back, you wouldn't understand anything that's happening in any movie. You wouldn't understand anything happening in Infinity War.
Yeah. So now for the acting, without giving anything away, the acting in this movie was pretty amazing. You got some great performances out of Tom Holland, even Benedict Cumberbatch. I didn't really care for him as Doctor Strange in the Doctor Strange movie, but I did care about him in this movie. And Chris Pratt, this is probably his best performance in any movie.
Oh yeah, and can we get it? And Josh Brolin.
Heck yes. Okay, so yeah, villain approved. This was the best villain. Not the best villain. I still think that Michael B. Jordan was the best villain.
I don't know.
This is almost a tie.
I have to give it to Thanos though.
Okay.
Because he's been built up for so long, and they delivered on him so well.
He delivered on him well. Yeah.
And like Killmonger came out and was like a shot in the dark. Like, wow, he's really good.
Yes.
They've been building the Thanos 10 years, so they had to deliver with him.
Yes.
And they did in such a way that I was like, certain scenes, I was like, this actually sucks for him.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, that was
it was at the fact that I actually felt something for a man who wanted to do what he wanted to do.
The one thing that made me so terrified back, like just a few years ago, was how am I ever going to think of a CGI monster as anything threatening? And yet you do now in this movie.
Because they made him human.
They gave him so much life, and so much of that is to the people that designed him and to Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin's performance in this was so good.
Yes,
this was like a very human performance.
Yeah, it was like yeah, he was CGI, but it was like in a weird way you cared for Thanos in a way.
Yes.
It's hard to explain now, but when we get into the spoiler review, we're going to talk about that. Yes. But for right now,
much like the way that we felt something for you felt a conflict in your own morals during the Killmonger for Black Panther. You kind of understand where Thanos is coming from, not necessarily in his execution, but where he's coming from and on his
his mindset, his actions speak villainy, but his mindset speaks to philanthropy in a weird way. And it's weird to think about it that way. Yeah. But and then when you hear him talk, because he doesn't scream or grandstand like some other villains would do.
Right.
He
always seems to be in control.
He always seems to be in control. He will literally sit down and talk to you.
Right.
And it's weird to see that in the villain. He's
you see his moral dilemma. He has several moral dilemmas in this movie, which is really it's intriguing. It's very well written.
It's very well written and unique for a movie to go that route.
Yeah, especially with this kind of movie.
But a movie like this, they could have just made him a big screaming big bad Steppenwolf, but
yeah.
Excuse me. I don't know what happened there.
Step.
And I've just made DC fanboys angry. I do not care. Come at me, bro. This movie could have served as the DCEU funeral, and I'd been okay with that.
Oh man, but yeah, the interactions all felt natural. Like, there was no they didn't shoehorn anybody into this movie.
No,
everybody was in there that needed to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
And they all, like I said, it was an action.
It was all streamlined.
Yep.
It was just basically like one big fireworks party.
Yes.
But it was fireworks that were well earned.
Yes. So, but yeah, you get all your favorite moments from everybody. Everybody kind of ended up with a big introduction. Some of them did anyway. But as far as the pacing goes, you get maybe 5 minutes of catching your breath near the beginning, the first act in this movie, and then you're holding your breath the entire time.
Yeah, like it's like the movie starts. And then it starts and it
starts with a gasp.
Then
you're like, okay, I can breathe for a second, and then you're holding your breath the whole rest of the movie.
And then it's like, okay, this is the calm down, everything's gonna be okay. Psych! Yeah. Now you're just on your edge of your seat for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Oh man,
I enjoyed it a lot. The score was good. The
CGI was really good for the most part. There was just teeny tiny bits that looked bad, but there's so many better parts in this movie as far as how the CGI looked.
Mm-hmm.
Than and the battle scenes. The battle scenes, like when I say that the Whedon-esque, I think of the battle scenes in Joss Whedon movies where I always talk about cannon fodder. There's so much cannon fodder in those types of movies, and there's not so much of that in here to where it's noticeable, but everything still feels terrifying. There's so many stakes in this movie.
Yeah,
that what could be considered cannon fodder may actually be the last time you see somebody.
Yeah, it's like the way they set up the cannon fodder, they're even threatening.
Yes.
Like when them one more thing about this movie, the way the trailers are set up. Everything is out of sequence.
Yeah.
You think one thing's happening, and when you watch the movie, like, oh, that scene is here.
Yeah. And then there are parts where you're wondering where somebody might. As far as the pacing goes, there were times where I thought, okay, we've been focusing on this person for a little bit too long. Can we go ahead and start moving to the next person? But everything is so important that was something that I should not have necessarily felt.
Yeah.
That was something I felt in my mind, but it in the end, I shouldn't have felt that way.
Because it was very important.
Yes, every single thing that happens in this movie is important to the story.
Yeah, there's no wasted screen time. There is no cutaway to nothing pointless or useless in this movie. Everything serves the story, and it serves the story very well.
Yeah, and there's some funny parts in here, but you really, with the story like this, you need those funny parts.
Yeah, because it breaks the tension.
So this isn't like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 funny, but there's some really good.
There's just relief humor, so you can go for a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, that's I feel like that's all we can really talk about as far as and stay away from spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're gonna go ahead and grade this movie, and it's gonna go ahead. I'm gonna give this my 10 out of 10.
See, I'm gonna break the rules here.
What? Give your rating right now.
No, I'm gonna give my rating right now. I'm just saying I'm breaking the rules.
Why are you breaking your rule?
My scale don't go to 10.
It has to go to 10. That's the movie.
I'm sorry. You want to
give it more, but you can go ahead and just call it.
I give it a 10 plus.
Okay, give it a 10 plus.
I wish I could give it an 11.
Give it an 11. We're giving it a 10.
Our scale stops at 10, but I myself want to give this movie an 11.
I want to give it. I probably want to give it an 11 too, but we are giving it a 10.
We're stopping at 10, but I want an 11.
We can call it Movie Champs Platinum. Give it a whatever you want to put a stamp of approval on.
Yeah, I'll put a seal of this.
But there's other movies I want to give a seal of approval on too, but we don't do that.
We gotta stop at 10. I understand. We stop at 10, but hear me. This is an 11.